Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a video that is focused on craft room storage and organization, and we are talking about how I store my Glimmer hot foil foils. Now they come on these rolls, and in a previous video someone saw that I actually store them in stamp pockets and asked me to create a video on my storage system for these rolls. So I thought I would show you how to do it. It's very easy. These rolls come and they have like 15 feet of material. There is so much foil on each of these rolls. And I think we get so freaked out about using it, but there's really a lot of product on these rolls. But I find that storing them on the rolls can be a little bit bulky and awkward. And I find that trimming them down into A2 size sheets and having them in these stamp pockets makes them easier to store, but it also saves me time when I'm creating. So you can see I have a few examples of that here. These are some of my most used foil colors, and I use the Avery Elle large stamp pockets for this. These are created to store stamps and dies, and I use them often in my storage and organization of stamps and dies as well. But I find they make great storage pockets for other products in your craft room, including these foils. Now, I do like to trim down a piece of inexpensive white cardstock to place inside of there. It really does make sliding your foils into these pockets a little bit easier because the foil is a little flimsy. So if you're trying to slide it into the pocket and you don't have something to kind of glide it and lead it in there, can make it a little difficult. If you're a nurse, you can think of this as your introducer. So I'm going to just take my paper trimmer here and my roll of foil, and I've placed my roll of foil over to my right hand side and brought the tail of that out. And I'm rolling this over to about 5.5, 6 inches, a little bit more, a little bit less. They don't have to be perfect. I find that this is a great size for all of those A2 kind of cover plate foil plates that I have in my stash. And I can also easily trim down smaller pieces if I'm just doing a sentiment, but this is a good kind of universal size for me. Now I'm using the Prism foil here, and I'm just trimming it with my trimmer blade. And I did want to mention that there is one foil that I do not do this with, and that is the Spellbinders Opal foil. It is a clear iridescent foil, and for me, if I trim it down like this, it's hard for me to tell which is the front side and which is the back side of that foil. So to avoid any confusion, I leave that one on the roll and I stick it in the drawer with the rest of these. Now you can see I've quickly trimmed down this entire roll. I have tons of sheets here, and I could even save that little scrap if I wanted to. I've just piled them off over to the side, and you can see it's hard to kind of wrangle these. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick up all these sheets. You're going to see how floppy and flimsy they are. I'm going to lay them on top of this cardstock that I have cut down to fit inside of my stamp pocket. And that cardstock piece is really key in kind of wrangling all these pieces. So I'm just laying them on there. I'm getting them kind of centered up, but I'm not going to worry about it. Trust me. So I had a few in my pocket already. I'm going to store the small little pieces, the little scraps at the front of my pocket. I'm going to place them all on top of this piece of white cardstock. You can see they're not in perfect order. They're not in perfect alignment. And then I'm going to use that piece of cardstock to help me slide all of these pieces down into the stamp pocket. And then I am just going to kind of tap them all until they fall into place. Now, there will be some that are out of place, but as I mentioned before, this not only helps me get my foil pieces into the stamp pocket, but it also keeps them from getting bent and marred while they're in the stamp pocket, so they won't fold over on themselves. It just gives it a little bit of support is the word that I'm looking for. So I do this with all of my most used foils, and I store them like this. They take up so much less space. And once I have them in the pockets, I use my Brother P-Touch labeler, and I create a label that tells me the brand and the color. Now, another way that you can store your foils on the roll is with a tiered vanity or nail polish storage like this. I will have this linked below. This makes for a great colorful display in your craft room. I find that the foils fit even if I don't have them taken out of the box, so they fit in the box or out of the box. And this is something great that you can put on a shelf in your craft room and have them out on display. This could make, like I said, a really beautiful, colorful, shiny display for your craft room. So that's another option for storing your Glimmer foils on the rolls. So there you have it, a couple easy ways to store your Glimmer hot foils. You can check the YouTube description below for links to all the products used here, or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I hope you found this useful. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss my paper crafting and card making video tutorials shared here. I would love to hear in the comments below which of these two systems you think would work best for you. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.